How's it going, everyone? I haven't done a video in a while, and I want to talk about some of my experiences that I had about a year ago. A year ago? No, it wasn't quite a year ago. I don't know why I would say a year ago about stuff. Um, so what my experience was, this was about when I met Frank. I met this guy named Frank, who's on my Facebook page, but also in a spiritual healing group that's in the one I was advertised for an art center. I met him back in May. No, not May. March of this year. He's been a great friend all the time. Um, he's a great guy. Um, he's on my Facebook page. Anyways, he was part of MUFON for 25 years. He's a MUFON agent. Um, Hello, how's it going? How's it going? He was a MUFON agent for like 25 years in New Jersey, and he basically not I wouldn't say an agent. He was a detective because it's a volunteer program. MUFON, they basically monitor. They don't monitor anything. They investigate UFOs and also other paranormal um, things that happen around. How's it going? So they investigate a lot of the paranormal stuff, and they also try to find definitive evidence for their claims towards what they find. So he was a MUFON agent for 25 years, and I met him at a bowl singing event, and and then became kind of best friends. And actually, it's kind of funny. The guy's 74 years old, and he's full of life. He's a great guy. He looks like he's 65 or 60, really, and he's he takes martial art classes. It's kind of funny seeing a 74-year-old guy and still being fit and taking beginner classes on taekwondo. Frank's kind of interesting, and like a lot of people are like me, and he does reflexology and he does Reiki, and anyways, there's like a gap in between a 20-year part where he won't tell me, and it was right after like his service Vietnam and the army. He told me he was in Tet 68, and also during that after that he was there's a gap between somewhere like 20 years, maybe even 25 years, and maybe CIA, maybe FBI. I don't know. Somewhere he won't talk. But there's like his retirement when he turned about 60, when he retired from whatever that was, because he was a 9/11. He said he was He was one of the major guys on site. I asked him for what, and he wouldn't tell me. So, um, so I think he said he was administrator, and an administrator job could be really anything, but um, it can also be, why are you on site of 9/11? So I don't know. So, but he was basically for his retirement. He decided to move on, and I think if in a way, if you were an FBI agent or retired, or a CIA operative or something like that, spy, something like DOD or something, um, must have been, like you want to do something familiar in a retirement type volunteer work, so you go work for MUFON, right? That's probably the best, you know, explanation I would come up with for someone that kind of still wanted to be on the job, but in a more active, fun, understanding way of finding out if aliens exist or something. So I think what I kind of realized, he did it as well in the 90s. I think it was around the 90s maybe he started it. I don't know. There's like gaps. I don't know. Anyways, my experience when this guy shows up, and I have this dream one night, and it wasn't like out of body experience of meditation. It was more like dream in bed, sleeping. And I have this dream where I was in a military base underground. This military base I was in, this dream, laying in my dream sleeping, not meditation dream. I was in the meditation state, and not no, what is it? I was in the dream state of sleeping. God, it's almost 12 o'clock. I should have done it earlier. I was in a military base, and I was in like almost like a maybe a decommissioned base, or maybe a real like it was like a base with a lot of concrete walls and a lot of like little rooms, and I was in this room hooked up to an IV, and there's like an officer, medical doctor, and like a corpsman, like he was give me like a I think an IV for water. But everything in the room of this cubicle that was like, this room was about maybe 8 by 8, 10 by 10. I would say about 8 by 8. And I saw it very vivid. And this is where like, I almost see it like an out-of-body meditation consciousness dream in a way. So I know it was almost like compared to pretty exact, because most of my dreams I have sleeping are like people, when they, regular people, when they have dreams, like they have vivid, but they don't have vivid, they don't have dreams at all. It's like that when I just sleep. When meditation, it's like this type of state dream I had when I was sleeping. So it was like almost astral travel in a way. But what I'm trying to explain is this dream is this setting was not really the setting in a way of today, of the present. It was more like the 1950s. Because I was 1950s military clothing on. I had like all the very traditional 1950s things, as well as like, the IV, so it's not a bag. So it's like maybe 1947, maybe something like that, 1940s. You never know. So like it was very authentic to the time period of that. Even the guard, there's a MP guarding the door on the other side. I can kind of see in the out of body state of that dream of seeing like the IV hooked my arm, and I was looking at the wall, and it was on like a, like how it is in a doctor's office. You go to a doctor, and then the doctor but it was all very old fashioned military. So this is where it gets weird, is that's all I have for that dream. A lot of people have states like this. When you have a state in a way that's very like vivid, and you're in a time period that's different, or you see something that's kind of different, but it might be fake. Well, as a practitioner already, I was, because it was like 26 months ago. It was back in April I had this experience, so about 8 months ago. I can't do the math right now, people. Just don't make fun of me. Getting tired, just trying to tell the story a little bit. So I might have told the story before on my Survival Ninja page. So, I go to what Frank's at the meditation place, who's every Mondays and Wednesday nights, or in this place where they used to have it at their house. Now they have it at a center. They made a center called Fire and Heart Center, and we go there and they do spiritual healing. They do both singing, and they listen to music, and all at one practice for like $5. It's actually a really great experience, and great people, very family oriented, and then we have snacks and food socialized after, so it's actually really great. Anyways, at this place I went to, at their house, back in April, visited their house. We all meet there. I sit down there and start doing the healing. This is where I have a lot of experiences, because there's bowl singing going on. There's everybody's trying to. Then there's everybody, like all the people. Like that's the whole thing. Like when you're meditating with a bunch of people, everybody has energy. There's energy in the room. More energy. It's not just the bowls. It's just the people itself. That's more important and just have bowls. Trust me, okay? People are more important just than that stuff. So, and more people are working on each their practices at once and trying to get the clarity sense, trying to relax their thoughts and stuff like that. So, even being in public, even if it wasn't like that, like if you go to like a Starbucks, that's why I move cups really easily because people are in good settings, good mindsets. They're focused on work mostly. So, and when they're focused on work, they're not focusing on you. They're focused on their laptops, their iPhones, whatever they're doing. Doesn't matter. But what they're doing is they're focused their intention on it. So the energy and the vibrations of it is a lot more in a positive, understanding way towards, having that type of experience of for me. Because I'm not using their energy, but the energy in the room in a way of making me vibrant as well. That's why in mindfulness meditation practices, what I did for so long without understanding any of this stuff after my experience, I had my out of body experience and all this other stuff. Awakening, awakening was first, then the out of body was second. But this is in April. That was about 4 years ago. So April, what I did, Frank told me. Frank said, "Okay, Dan, you saw that dream, right?" Because I explained it to him on the phone. And he said, I want you to sit there, and then I want you to say, I want to see what I really saw. You say that to yourself. So what I really saw was the room of the corridor of this base that was a curve like this. And the rooms were here. All I saw was like two rooms, and it's like these columns of concrete columns and a base. So this internal part, starts turning when I'm on the dream state meditation, and voila, it's a UFO. I'm in a UFO, and I actually saw all the little gray aliens examining me and stuff like that, looking at me and doing all sorts of stuff. And they weren't like doing anal probing, okay? Don't they're not doing that stuff. What they're doing is they took me from one spot to a mothership. And the mothership is a scar-shaped ship. It was awesome. Scar-shaped ship. And what I remember is coming to the docking, and then it like hovered and it would stack, like there was a bunch of them. And it kind of like it came down. And I was in almost like have you seen an aircraft carrier where you have like all the vehicles and the planes and everything underneath the carrier, underneath this one level? It was like that. It was like all open floor plan. And then they did have bridges and decks, but they're all open. The whole thing's open in there. It actually was wild. It was really long too, so it's like really big. But they also had all these different areas. So they had like all their ships like stacked like this. Like they take a bunch of like, see, I'm kind of tired right now, so my understanding would be like you take a bunch of like bagels and you just stack them, but just imagine like there's a void between each one of them, like that. That's how they all are. They're stacked like that, like all floating next, like above each other, just stacked up. Must have been like 200 of them in there, And then it was like they had decks come around, so it was like these like top flight decks and lower flight decks and these other flight decks, and they had all their and I saw reptilians in there, like reptilians. I saw these type of columns that came up, and they're all type of materials, like minerals, like all sorts of minerals, and they go in these chambers around the mineral circles, like they like maybe like you have like a like you see these geometric shapes that have like just circles, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just imagine that as these tubes, and these tubes are clear, and they have minerals in there. Well, these minerals had like a box next to each one of them, and somehow they're using these minerals, and they would have these other tubes around it. They would stand in these tubes and actually like get almost like spiritual healing. So like they come from back where they were, like on Earth. If you imagine if they were on Earth, they'd come back, and almost like maybe they would constantly heal them from battle or whatever, like instantly. So we're using like those minerals in a way, like almost how we talk about ohms, like how we talk about like omis, that we drink the omis for it has pure minerals in it to heal your body super fast. They're doing the same thing with these giant columns, but they're like using some kind of um, like almost like you go to the bank teller and you like it shoots your envelope through the thing. It's like that, those type of tubes, and they're just shooting that kind of dust stuff in there. But then it's like more like in a way of a vapor. So it's very crazy, almost like it's like a giant bong in a way, but it's more like spiritual, like energy feeling, not like no smoke, nothing like that. It's just all like energy, completely energy in like a vacuum tube that would stand in. It's crazy. So it's like a healing system. And then I saw these top flight decks that actually had hybrid humans on them and stuff. And I was actually permission to be a part of these parts of these decks. I saw these reptilians just coming like walking next to me on these higher flight up there like staircases what lead up to these other columns, and they're grunting and they're all mad and pissed off. They're higher 2 times bigger than a normal human being. They're grumpy and mean, but they're not fighting. This is almost like a diverse ship. It had like humanoids, it had hybrids like stuff, it had other humans, and it had like the greys, and it also had like the tall greys, and it also had the reptilians. Anyway, I don't know why it would have all that. Why have one or all like all the different races of these? I found was information in these books that all like the reptilians are horrible, and these things are about bad too. They're nippleizing and confusing, and they want to trick your mind and give you. It's like, well, wait a second. Is there like somewhere between maybe like a rebel ship in a way? So like they're like they're rebelling against whatever they believe in. You never know. Like, and it was kind of cool. It was very cool. It was like a giant battle, it was basically like an aircraft carrier floating. Like these cigar shaped ships that we see in Mexico. They seen one like freaking 2 days ago in Mexico with giant, huge. It was fucking on YouTube. Giant, huge cigar shaped ship just floating there. People are like screaming and crying and shouting. Hundreds of people in the streets of like Mexico. Cigar shaped ship, like, and they're just these aircraft carriers. That's what they are, and they're just loaded with materials and things and flying objects and flying UFO saucers are stacked up like a bunch of you know freaking donuts. You're gonna buy it like Dunkin' Donuts, just stacked in a box, but they're all like floating. Each one of them. It's crazy. It must have been like 100 in there, all stacked up, and they have these decks where they all kind of like mingle or you know stations and stuff. It's crazy. The up top decks were really interesting, very like quantum type. You can still see that they had stuff they used to monitor stuff and everything like that. What we use, but they're like really advanced. And all I saw was one reptilian gun that was blown away. Is a freaking gun like it was a ring battle gun from the future. It was cool, but I didn't see anything really else. It was starting to fade away when I was because it was a bowl singing thing with spiritual healing, bowl singing, and they do a lot of other things. So it's like in that place they do a lot of like mix of things, and actually cool because when sometimes you go to a bowl singing place, they don't need bowls. They don't come around and like put energy into your they a lot of the healers they heal your mind from your suffering and also your thoughts, your emotions. So it's another way of oneness. It's a oneness blessing, I would say. So, and then they do a mantra song that uplifts that energy from what they have gave you. So there's like, but I go right into the experience and then use that energy. A lot of people use that kind of energy when they come around to the oneness blessing to get rid of thoughts or emotions and get rid of their stress. I use it to store it I store it, and then I expand up when they do the when they do one of they do that mantra song that was a mantra kundalini type song that heightens the vibration, still stimulates your mind in a way, so you can have the experiences. And it's actually pretty wild what oneness blessings can really do. Really out of body, and that's pretty much. I had out of body before I went there, and it's funny that I had out of body before I went there, and then I found this place. That nobody else does this stuff. I never seen anybody can do bowl singing, and then have oneness, and then have like healing and another, all these other things to do too. They have a lot of diversity at that place. A lot of diversity lessons of different things of energy. So it's actually quite cool, interesting. I never really went to a lot of their other things, their events. I just did their things because as a master practitioner, I would call myself, because if I saw something like that and experienced it, even when, you know, in a high clarity state, consciousness, and also move objects and do stuff with, you know, people think I'm some kind of hybrid because I barely sleep and then I'm awake all day long, like active awake. And then I meditate for 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours a day. Then I'm doing energy here. And then I'm doing my normal things. So it's quite interesting what I keep understanding. Maybe I got a new haircut today, so I hope everybody enjoys it. So I met a energy practitioner online. Me and her have been talking a lot. It's getting a little bit hot already, so I'm actually thinking about taking a trip to see her real soon. She lives out of state. I might just jump on a plane and, you know, go see her because it's the conversations are getting pretty intense. So, but she's a energy person just like a lot of us, and she does Reiki, Reiki master, and massage therapy, and a bunch of other things. So tarot card, and I say a lot of crap about tarot card readers, and yeah, I'm not gonna say one bit anymore because really, really good. I was hoping maybe I would find a energy person like me, but as a girl, and hit it off well, and now I can do that. So, and so that's my experience. And I did Pinterest it. I have a Pinterest board because I always make storyboards with every dream I saw. So that's one of my dreams. I'll post it to my page right now. Have a good night.